Jai Ma, namaskar. Okay, so today we'll be focusing on Balasana, which is child's pose. I'm just going to show you a couple of variations of this most beloved yoga pose. So come to your mat or cushion or whatever you have set up. The first one we'll begin with, we're going to take our knees wide. So knees are as wide as the mat, and we'll take a bolster and place it here between the knees. And then just sort of lift your heart up over your bolster or your blanket, pillow, whatever prop you have. And begin by simply lifting up through the heart. So maybe palms are flat on the earth. Maybe we're up on the fingertips. Maybe you even have a couple of blocks here. Take a deep inhale, lifting up through the heart. And then exhale, start to walk those hands out. Still lead with the heart, though. Let the heart lead the way. And then just come to rest on the bolster. And you have options. You can kind of let your forehead hang off of your prop, or you can turn your head to one side or the other. You can also pull your prop up a bit more so that your head has something to rest on. If you take this variation, just make sure that you time it so that you have equal time on each side of your face. So this is one variation of child's pose. This is probably, in my opinion, the most restorative. You can also, if your lower hips are feeling really tight, or if your knees are tight, you can put cushions or some sort of support under your knees. You can also put a blanket or something between the backs of your thighs and calves so that you have a little more support back here as well. Maybe even a rolled up blanket underneath your ankles so you have support for your feet. Lots of options, lots of variation. I do invite you to stay, if you're taking this as a restorative practice, to rest here for a solid 5 minutes or more, if that feels good for you. And just remember to change the direction that your face is pointing at halfway through. So another variation that you might consider is to keep the knees wide and just, again, inhale, leading with the heart. Exhale, kind of slide your hands out. Heart comes toward the earth. And you can stay here. You can keep your elbows off of the ground. Of course, forehead will be on the earth here. You can keep your elbows off the ground for a more active version of this asana, or you can let the forearms and the elbows come to rest on the ground. Maybe even rolling your head side to side on the ground. And resting here. When you're ready, you'll inhale to come up. Really, really nice and slowly once again. Still, that's a pretty restorative posture, so I would invite you to take it for a good 3 to 5 minutes. You can also bring your knees together. Big toes are still touching. That helps to maintain the alignment between the knees and the ankles and to support our knees. So from here, same thing, lifting up through the heart, leading with the heart, big breath in. Exhale, walking those hands out in front of us. Being aware of cats. Forehead rests on the ground, elbows are lifted or resting. And you can gently sway side to side here with the knees together. It's safer on the knees. You can sway or you can rest in stillness. And breathe. Holding this for as long as you'd like. Again, child's pose I think is always good to hold for at least 2 minutes, and then increasing that depending on how much of a restorative practice you're taking. If you're taking this as just sort of a break when you're incorporating it into a vinyasa flow or any other practice, still give yourself at least 5 breaths in that balasana, in that child's pose, to just sort of nurture and rest, pause, reset, restore. The soma, the nectar of yogasana, is to give ourselves those moments of sacred integration, of sacred pause, to feel the effects of the practice on our bodies and to feel that uniting of body, breath, and mind. When you come out of child's pose, or even before you go into it, if you want a little bit of movement, this is where CatCow can be really helpful. So knees hip width apart, just below the hips. Wrists come to rest below the shoulders, and we just inhale. Crown of the head, tailbone up. Exhaling, rounding the back of the heart space. Crown of the head, tailbone down. So we're leading with the heart either way. We're leading with the front of the heart on that inhale, and we're leading with the back of the heart on that exhale. You can also take hip circles if that feels appropriate for you. You can press back into child's pose and then pull yourself up into sort of a cobra or even an upward dog, and then come back to land and rest in that child's pose. Lots of variations. You get to make the practice your own, and you get to allow the practice to meet you where you are and to serve you in this beautiful temple body that you get to call home for this lifetime. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Jagadambe Mata Ki. Jai Guru Dev.